We are following breaking news. A Chicago police officer shot and killed late last night. In the last hour, a procession escorted the officer's body to the medical examiner's office. We've now learned that officer was a 36-year-old mother and was a 4-year veteran of the force. Superintendent Larry Snelling described her as vibrant and fearless.
We turn now to our Darius Johnson, who's live outside the 6th District Police Station with the very latest on this. Darius.
Hey there, ladies. Good morning to you. This is where that fallen officer worked for the past 4 years, right here, the 6th District at 78th and Halsted. She was well known among her team, and this morning, the department and those here at the 6th District are now mourning. Overnight, Superintendent Larry Snelling spoke about her, saying she showed up every day, hardworking, bold, and dedicated to protecting others. Take a look at this video. It was around 9:50 last night when Chicago police made an investigatory stop at 82nd and Drexel in the Chatham neighborhood. Officers believe this suspect was armed. When they approached, the suspect ran into a nearby apartment. Once officers got inside, police say they were confronted by a second person pointing a rifle at them. During that, an officer fired their weapon, and that's when the 36-year-old female officer was shot. Fellow officers put her in a patrol car and rushed her to the hospital. But on the way, that vehicle caught fire due to a mechanical issue. She was then moved to another vehicle and taken to the University of Chicago Medical Center, where sadly she died. Outside the hospital just before 3 o'clock this morning, Mayor Brandon Johnson and Superintendent Larry Snelling spoke about her life and her sacrifice. She leaves behind a family, friends, and a young child.
It's a brutal thing to know that your offspring, because to a parent, no matter how old your children get, they're still always your children. And for a mother to lose her daughter like that, knowing that she was trying to do the right thing every single day, that she was protecting lives, that she was a hero, and she lost her life tragically, doing the job that she loved.
Chicago police say there are several people in custody this morning. One of those people believed to be the person who was inside the apartment with that rifle confronting officers. Detectives tell us they are still working to confirm exactly who fired that deadly shot that killed this female officer. 3 weapons were recovered at the scene, and in the meantime, Chicago police tell us they are still investigating this morning after this incident happened at 10 o'clock last night. One thing that they are still waiting on, they're still waiting to get a search warrant to get inside that apartment to be able to conduct and gather more evidence. Of course, this is a developing story. This is a breaking story. We're going to continue to be on this throughout the day as we continue to learn more about this female officer, as well as what exactly led to her final call. And ladies, I just have to say, this is another sad loss for the 6th District after they have lost an officer just in the last year. We're live here at the 6th District this morning in the Auburn-Gresham neighborhood. I'm Darius Johnson.
All right. Peace and blessings. Peace and blessings. All praises to the Most High. And there you see the story of the officer on the south side of Chicago who lost her life in the pursuit of someone who was stopped for a traffic violation, of all things. And upon further investigation, this possibly or allegedly is the officer, 36-year-old Krystal Rivera, who was only on the force 4 years, and she lost her life last night when officers pursued a suspect into the house. Now, there's a couple of questions that I have about this story. They said they stopped the individual, and the individual then ran into a nearby apartment. And when the officers got into the apartment, we should stop it right there because, the officers should not have, in my opinion, chased someone into an apartment not knowing what they had on them or not knowing what their plans were. Was there a warrant? Did they need a warrant? All those things need to be answered because right now they're saying they're still looking for a warrant to get into the apartment to do some searches. So if they didn't have a warrant beforehand, what gave them the authority to go into that apartment haphazardly and then cost the young lady her life? Secondly, they said that they encountered a person not the individual they were chasing, but another person pointing a rifle at them. And then they said at that time, officers fired a shot. And it was then that Krystal Rivera was hit. And so if you listen closely, they never said the individual with the rifle fired a shot. They said at that time an officer fired a shot, and it was then that Krystal Rivera was hit. So with my spidey senses, my antennas up, it leads me to believe that Krystal Rivera was hit by that officer's fire, or what they call friendly fire. Because if you recall at the end of the article, they saying detectives and investigators are still working to see where that shot came from, which is another red flag. If the individual was in custody with the rifle, I dare not think that they would not say that this individual is the one who fired the fatal shot, in which it believes me, once again, there may have been some friendly fire that took the life of Miss Rivera. Also, they said that she was transported to the hospital in a vehicle. However, that vehicle caught on fire because of a mechanical issue. Now, what vehicle, albeit a police vehicle or an ambulance, would catch on fire due to a mechanical issue? Just go up in flames. And then they said that she was moved to another vehicle in which she was transported, I think they said, to the University of Chicago, where she succumbed to her injuries. Now, this is, once again, a very sensitive situation. As I've mentioned before, I do not agree with any violence, and I definitely do not celebrate the loss of life of any kind. And being that this is a police officer who's lost their life in the line of duty, as opposed to a police officer taking a life in the line of duty, which we've covered a lot on this channel, there seems a little discussion that needs to be had here. Now, once again, I looking at this lady, and she sounds like a minority with the last name of Rivera, and so I would not assume that she is one of the rogue racist cops that we all oftentimes focus on these videos. However, being a part of a department, as they say, the saying goes, one bad apple spoils a bunch. You have to once again place the blame on the larger perception or the larger actions of police in general as it relates to being violent against the community. Now, once again, I don't know the entirety of the situation, whether that individual who was pointing at a rifle at the police knew they were actual police, or maybe he did know that they were police, and because of all of the traumatic scenes that he have seen through the years of police coming in and opening fire, i.e. Breonna Taylor, i.e. Elton Land, i.e., and you can fill in the blank of any other person that you would want to put in there. Maybe he felt that, okay, well, they're going to come in shooting anyway, so let me go ahead and be proactive about this and, shoot first. Now, once again, that's just my speculation, but, it goes to speak to a larger problem where people feel like the police are a danger to the community, rather an asset. They are not there to protect and serve, but to seek and destroy. And, unfortunately, Miss Rivera may have been a casualty of war, as they call it, in this situation where, she was possibly one of the good cops, one serving, admirably, trying to take care of her daughter, trying to do the right thing in the community, but was the victim of a perception of or previous actions levied by police officers against the community. As one scripture says, the sins of the father fall onto the son. In this case, the sins of other officers may have fell in the lap of this officer. And, you see the conference where, the police chief is stacked or staffed by numerous police officers in the background, again, showing their solidarity to the fallen officer. However, once again, as I pointed out in so many instances, when police take lives, there's not that show of solidarity, support, sympathy, empathy for the lives that the police officers take. So this is a developing story. It happened last night at about 9:50 on June the 5th. So the details are sketchy, but the wording of that news reporter saying, okay, an officer fired a shot, and then that's when Rivera was hit, which makes me think that she may have been hit by her own officer's fire, being as though they never said that the suspect fired the rifle he was pointing. So that's just another something to look at. As this story progresses, I'm definitely going to bring you some more updates on it. But nevertheless, y'all see the number. Y'all tell me what y'all think about this video in the comments. As always, 919-587-7782. Thank y'all for watching, sharing, subscribing, and liking the channel. Thank you for the calls, messages, emails, and donations as well. So once again, peace and blessings. I hope y'all have a blessed evening. Much love.